Welcome back everyone to another episode of Let's Play Dark Souls 2. From here on out in the Let's Play, there's going to be a lot of progress. Not going to lie, a lot. You will see actually, if I remember right, 4 bosses across these next 4 videos, this one being the first. So, that's awesome. I love making progress in Dark Souls, and finally I get to actually make some because it just took a while, you know? It's weird because in Dark Souls there's a lot of, well, I mean, at least for me, I'm sure the experience is different for everybody. That's what makes it so great, so that everybody can compare and contrast their experiences, which that's why everybody I ever talk to that has played Dark Souls, we always share our stories, almost like they're like little like, okay, that's terrible. now I'm not gonna say it. That's bad. No. But everybody gets to be like, oh my god, do you remember that time? And oh wow, oh, that was crazy. Oh, and that time when that happened, I was like, whoa. So yeah, it's that's basically how every conversation about Dark Souls has ever happened when I talk to someone. Either that, or it's the opposite, where they're like, oh man, I've seen some shit, where it's like they have PTSD across from the game, which that happens, to be honest. For me at least, I love Dark Souls. It's just, I run into certain things that just screw me over. One of those being some of the bosses that were early on, and actually a couple of these bosses. In particular, a fire boss you'll see in the next episode or two. I don't know which one. I'm trying to think. I think it's the one, not the next episode, but the one after. That one was pretty tough. But this one, this boss, which we'll be seeing in a few minutes here, or a minute or so here, not super tough, but I'll go into it a little bit more. Firstly, before we can even deal with the boss, we have to think about this area. So, I didn't actually know, but those pools which are actually oil, you can light them on fire and explode them, which kill the enemy that hide underneath. They have enemies hiding underneath, so that's a thing. You gotta be very careful. And at this point, I just said, fuck it. I don't care. I was sprinting. Oh dear god, there's these things. They're creepy. I will say, if you've ever played Banjo-Kazooie, I think, or Tooie, I don't know if they were in Tooie, but at least in Banjo-Kazooie, there were enemies that would pop out of the wall. They first appeared in Clinker's Cavern, I do believe. They would pop out of little grates in the wall, and they were not great at all, because they would just pop up and be like, hey there, little guy, do you wanna have some fun? And they would just destroy you. Same thing with those enemies, but they were a little bit more predictable. I would imagine, though, they would just shove you right off the cliff if they did hit you. So there's all those things to worry about. But if you're like me, you could sprint over to this bonfire and not even worry. And from here, we can go through this, or from that bonfire over here, do a little bit of, oh, okay, yeah, do a little bit of jumping, a little bit of rolling, get your way past here, and you should be able to get here without actually being poisoned. Which, if you do, good job. And now it's time for the boss. Let's check out exactly what this thing is, because it's pretty scary, and the cutscene, just watch. Yeah, that's one big bottle full of nope. Holy shit, this boss. Called the Rotten. I think I'm smelling something rotten just by looking at him. Pretty terrifying looking. But god damn, I love some of the boss, what do you call it? The boss creation? I don't know. I'm blanking on the exact word, but I just love how the boss looks. In Dark Souls 1, there was Gravelord Nito, which he was pretty neato. Oh god, right here. Crunch, 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 crunch. I'm surprised I lived from that. This guy, the Rotten, is pretty tough, but he's a heavy character, heavy type boss, so he moves pretty slowly. He has a big cleaver, which you can already see. This is basically how you dodge it. I do pretty good at dodging at this point because I've spent a long time practicing. That's why I'm running with the Aurus set. He does have that one grab move, and he also has some spitting. I think he shows... No, this is his dark blade. He basically just charges it for a second and then hits, shooting out a bunch of darkness. Try not to get trapped in front of it because I assume you die from it. And the other moves, of course, is the grab, which you already saw, and then a spit, where he spits, I think, like poison or bleeding type of stuff or something like that. But regardless, don't go into the fire because it'll kill you. But the boss is actually defeatable. I didn't think that for a while. Holy shit. But also, what? What was that? Yeah, we just got a great soul, which, as Tony the Tiger would say, is pretty awesome. I'm not making that joke because I could, but I'm not going to. Regardless, you get to see, I think this is basically his little workshop where he creates all these statues. So he's the asshole to blame for all the statues beforehand. And, oh, fire seed right there. That's so you could upgrade a pyromancy, which is always nice. But at this point, I had upgraded the non-dark pyromancy flame to +4, which is very unfortunate. Unfortunate. Get it? Get it? Unfortunate. Sorry. Over here, actually, is a bonfire. They're like confidence items. There's items, actually. Well, actually, here is just one item. I don't remember what it is. And the winner gets Sublime Bone Dust. Yeah, upgrade our Estus. Awesome. That boss was very tough to me at first because I was going about it all wrong. I was thinking, well, let's try heavy armor. Let's try to like shield all stuff. But eventually, I was like, F it. Let's just try something different. So now we are introduced to something called a primal bonfire. These are bonfires which, I don't know if you can tell right there, but those bonfires are actually same in design as the rest of the bonfires, except that the sword is broken, which I think that means we can't rest at it, but if we try to rest at it, it'll teleport us back here. So that's what happened right there. I will also say that, what is it? The primal bonfires are a weird sort of thing. I think there's a total of 4 primal bonfires, if I understand correctly. That is the first. And the next 3 episodes, we will see the remaining 3 primal bonfires. Each are guarded by a different boss, which I think are called the Old Ones. You have to kill the 4 old ones, or at least, yeah, you have to kill the 4 old ones so that you could relight the 4 primal bonfires to let us go through the door that required greater souls that was attached to the forked road area. This will make more sense once we actually see what's going on and get there, but this is required to continue on through this the game's progression. I mean, there is a glitch, I think, in one of the versions that actually lets you skip it, but, you know, legitimately, we need to do this. So, for the rest of the episode, I'm just going to do a little, little housekeeping, looking up around stuff. But yeah, the primal bonfires are something I had no idea up until, like, this part in the game where I was, like, 40, maybe 25... Wait, 40 what? No, I was, like, 20 to 25, maybe even 30 hours in, and I just was learning about the primal bonfires. And that's one tiny gripe I have about Dark Souls. I mean, maybe it's not a gripe, but it's just like, it's hard to know what your goal is unless someone tells you, or you happen to somehow find it. I mean, yeah, you would have probably found out regardless, because you would have eventually found a primal bonfire, no matter what path you took, and you would have thought, hey, what the fuck's this? And you might have looked it up, or you might have eventually pieced it together just by happenstance. And that's fine, it's just, it can be a little annoying, at least for me, because I was trying to make this Let's Play, and I want to make it as informational as possible. So when I had no clue as to how to actually beat the game, I was like, well, shit, this is a problem, isn't it? But it's okay. From here on out, I finally started to really get my shit together in terms of playing. So firstly, we're going to start upgrading our armor, which I should have done a long time ago. Because I had finally decided that the Alva set, as well as the Vargal helm, is my set, like the one I'm going to use till the end of the game, I finally start upgrading it. So these souls are being put to good use because the armor is finally actually capable of defending me at least a little bit. But unfortunately, I will be dropping it for for lighter armor a couple times in the future, but it's really good to upgrade armor, and that's something I've just sort of been neglecting for a while now. What I'm trying to do here is just upgrade each piece in a row so they all stay around the same level. By the end, I think it gets them to around +7 and +8, respectively, for certain items. I think it's the +8 was the chest, because upgrading the chest piece gives the most bonuses out of all of them. But yeah, so what else is there to do? I don't know. Should probably figure that out, shouldn't I? Alright, what we need to do is talk to her. And she's telling us seek souls and all that. Yeah, I know. She's basically trying to, she's hinting at what we have to do to beat the end of the game. We have to seek larger souls, old ones, and find the king. We actually find the king later, which is pretty awesome. I won't talk more about it yet. I'll talk more about it later when we actually get nearer and nearer to it. Ugh, sorry. For right now, I'm just upgrading my points. It's weird because by the end, I think my points for adaptability, strength, attunement, vitality, endurance, all those, they all end in 6s, I think, by the end, which I swear to God, I'm not a Satan worshiper. It just happened because I was trying to get them all to be even, and it just happened into that. I think it was weird. It happened at one point at least. But really, what is it? The old ones and all that, it makes sense. There was something similar in Dark Souls 1 where you had to kill the different Lord Soul, or basically the Lords or whatever, so you could get the Lord Souls, or the boss, you know what I mean? So you can like fill up the Lord Vessel and all that shit, right? It makes sense. Here, there's something similar, but it's just a little less, maybe not less, there. If anything, it's more, but I don't know. It's just not my favorite thing, but I get over it eventually. Not like it matters. So here we're going to be buying Iron Flesh, which turns out to be pretty useful, but honestly, these last three all end up being useful for me in the final section of the game. Okay, except Iron Flesh. It's actually pretty worthless for me because I don't use it properly at all. Oh boy. Iron Flesh is silly, and you'll see how it can be silly in the next episode. Yeah, you are. Thanks, Rosabeth, if that's your name, because I can never remember properly. Not like it matters, anyways, because that's probably almost the last time you're going to see her in the Let's Play. Not like it matters, because we are done. I should say, there's a couple more pyromancies you'll see, and once we get them, pyromancy becomes my favorite thing in the world. But not like it matters, because we are here at the end of the episode. I hope you enjoyed. In the next one, we are going to be heading off to Sinner's Rise, I do believe, and defeating a boss there. So I will see you then. Goodbye.